Well, hello, folks. It's Ken David Stewart back again. I'm going to read to you today a bit from Street Dreams, a new novel I'm working on, and I think we're going to start with about episode 20 today. So let me just find my Word document here, and here we go. Episode 20. On Tuesday morning, March 27th, 2019, Harold Payton accepted a collect call from Headingley Correctional Center. The call came from Ricky Kramer, Harold's stepson, and Clarissa's biological son from her first marriage to Peter Kramer. "Hey, Dad, it's Ricky." "Hi, son." Although Ricky was not Harold's biological son, he still referred to him as if he was. Harold had two children with Clarissa. They were both now adults. Harold first met his stepson Ricky when the boy was only 3 years old. Harold refused to make any distinction between his biological children and Ricky. Harold hated the term stepson and always referred to Ricky as if he was his own child. "Hey, Dad, how's it going?" Ricky asked. "Not bad. How are you doing?" "Well, about as well as may be expected," Ricky answered. Harold could hear someone else talk in the background. "Hey, pal, make it quick. I've got to call my old lady." It was obviously another inmate waiting in line to use the payphone. Ricky replied, "Take it easy, Charlie. You can have the phone in a minute." "Well, make it snappy. Laura can be a real bitch if I don't return her calls," the older convict replied. "Look, Dad, the reason I'm calling is they're planning to let me out in a couple of weeks. They're reducing my sentence by a few months for good behavior. The only problem is I need to let them know that I have a permanent place to stay. Think I could stay at your place, Dad, at least temporarily?" "Yeah, I don't see why not, Ricky." "Are you planning on staying out of trouble this time?" Harold asked. "Totally," Ricky replied. "My release date is April 22nd at 12 noon. You think you could pick me up?" "Sure, no problem, Rick. See you then." Harold felt a lot of guilt about Ricky. He hadn't started to get into serious trouble until he and Clarissa separated. Harold paced around his living room nervously. Whisper had gone out in the afternoon to visit a friend. Harold started thinking that he must be some kind of glutton for punishment. In a few weeks he would have both Whisper and Ricky, two troubled young people, living under the same roof with him. "I wonder how it's going to work out," Harold thought to himself. Episode 21. Harold was busy getting breakfast ready for Whisper and himself. This meal was Harold's specialty: raisin bran cereal, toast, and coffee. Harold had a small, cozy kitchen that was adequate for a man who lived alone. Harold liked to get up around 5:30 a.m. in the mornings. This earlier hour he could choose from a few substitute assignments that were posted on ASOP early in the morning. Harold has the ASOP app installed on his computer. He made a habit of checking the teaching assignments that were available shortly after he started his day. Harold no longer just accepted the first offer that was available. In his retirement years, he would just agree to take assignments that interested him. He much preferred secondary school assignments over elementary school positions. For breakfast, he checked the jobs that were available. Harold had just completed 5 consecutive days teaching high school English at Transcona Collegiate. As he was feeling tired, Harold decided he'd take a day off. He set the cereal and milk on the table, took some bread out of the refrigerator, and put on a fresh pot of Tim Hortons coffee. He heard a Whisper moving around in Erica's old bedroom. Harold decided he'd surprise Whisper by preparing breakfast for the both of them today. He was looking forward to having someone to talk to at breakfast time. He wished that more people knew how sad and lonely it was to live alone. Knowing that Whisper would be joining him for breakfast brightened Harold's mood significantly. He neatly set 2 cereal bowls, plates, and coffee cups on his orange and white kitchen table. He called upstairs. "Breakfast will be ready in a few minutes, honey." Harold caught himself. He just called Whisper honey. He started to wonder why. Thought quickly crossed Harold's mind that he now had his answer. It was because Whisper was starting to fill the void left by the death of Harold's daughter Erica. God, he missed Erica. The grief didn't seem like it would ever end. The pain was almost unbearable at times. Whisper could be the one ray of sunshine in Harold's otherwise tormented life. This was way too much pressure to put upon Whisper. She could never make up for Harold's loss of his daughter, which just might ease the pain a little. Whisper yelled from upstairs, "Just give me a couple of minutes, Harold. I need to use the washroom and brush my teeth first." During the last year, Whisper had become used to waking up in strange beds and strange rooms. She'd certainly done a lot of couch surfing over the last few months, become a way of life for her. During the last 7 months, Whisper began to hate this lifestyle. She had to admit it, but for approximately 1 year she had destroyed her life due to her addiction to crystal meth. As Whisper finished taking care of her personal hygiene tasks, she could smell the delicious aroma of the coffee that was percolating in the kitchen. She thought this was going to be a real treat. She was not used to eating breakfast in the morning. In the odd morning she would wake up hungry and find a slice or two of cold pizza in a box that someone had left in the kitchen after a party. On most occasions there wouldn't be anything edible to eat. As Whisper made her way downstairs, Harold noticed that Whisper had slept in the same clothes that she wore the day before. "Harold, you already have breakfast on the table. I thought you said you couldn't cook," Whisper said as she seated herself at Harold's kitchen table. "I can't," Harold replied, "but I can put out some cereal, make toast, and put on the coffee." Harold was filled with joy to see Whisper sitting down in her black and silver Los Angeles Kings jersey. This morning Whisper appeared beautiful to Harold, just as his deceased daughter Erica had once been. "Are you going out to teach today?" Whisper asked as she poured herself some Raisin Bran cereal to a large green bowl. "No, I'm going to take the day off. I just finished teaching 2 days back to back, so I figure I'll work on my writing a bit today. I also want to hear your story." "I do have a pretty interesting story, Harold. If I tell you about my life, could you make me the main character in one of your novels?" Whisper asked excitedly. "I'd love to hear your story," Harold responded. "I can tell you lots of stories about what happened in my life. I need to warn you, though, my life story is awfully gross." The coffee maker had stopped percolating, and Harold got out of his chair to bring the Betty Crocker coffee carafe over to the kitchen table. Harold had already poured himself a huge glass of water. Whisper noticed that Harold had a small blue traveling bag that was full of medications. "Hope you don't mind, but I need to take my morning meds while I'm eating my breakfast." As Harold opened a couple of his pill bottles, Whisper thought of her deceased grandfather, Howard. She often wondered what it would feel like to be old. She had loved her grandfather. Howard used to spend a lot of time with Whisper. He often read children's books to her. During the year that Whisper turned 7, her grandfather had taken his own life. He hanged himself in the attic. Whisper hoped that Harold would never do anything like that. Episode 22. "Would you want to just hang out with me today, Harold?" Whisper asked. "Yes, what would you like to do?" Harold asked. "In the afternoon, I was wondering if you could drive me to this sort of head shop / coffee shop called The Grunge. It's a really super cool place to be. They have some really rad clothing, like from the 90s. They also have an awesome collection of CDs, cassettes, and vinyl records," Whisper said. "Do you have any bootleg CDs, tapes, or records?" Harold asked. "You mean like live concerts that weren't officially released by artists like Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, and Nirvana?" Whisper asked. "Yes, that's what I'm interested in," Harold answered. "You're in luck. They have a few boxes of rare recordings in the back corner of the store. They also have a little coffee bar where we can try out some exotic coffees and teas." "Do they sell any books at the Grunge?" Harold asked. "Oh, yeah. They have bookshelves stocked with lots of cool books, even some rare out-of-print books. They even sell books by local authors. Sometimes a busker will walk in with his guitar and play some old folk songs, or some of his or her original compositions. The Grunge has a small, cozy stage area in front for that. They will often pass an old cowboy boot around so people may donate some loose change to the artist," Whisper added. "Well, the Grunge sounds wonderful to me. I would love to go with you," Harold said as he took a sip of his Tim Hortons coffee. "Are you into that kind of thing?" Whisper asked as she chewed on a slice of raisin toast. I think I would really enjoy myself in a place like that. We used to have coffee houses like that back in the 70s. I used to know a local folk singer named Dave Barrett. He used to take me to hang out in a place something like what you're describing. I still remember and love those times, Harold said. Okay, folks, I think I'm going to leave it at there for today with the continuing adventures of Whisper and Harold and all the cast in Street Dreams. And we shall see you soon.